sure no one's watching yet. Alright. Keep going.
I'm gonna shut it real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to share it. We'll get going. You guys can pull it up. You let me know when we got viewers besides yourself. Alright. Cool. So you guys got that up. Because I think tell me if the live feed goes down. So, because that means I'll have to.
Okay.
Then you got it up. You should be able to see us. Cool, we're all on screen. Okay. Let's give it another minute so we get a few viewers. Hit it. Alright. So we'll do Dino first. World Cup qualifiers. We'll talk about USA and Mexico. Brush up on Champions League one more time. And then we'll get in depth. We'll circle back to MLS and Liga MX with there's a lot of key matches this weekend. And then I want to add this little thing at the end about.
The thing about April is that it's starting to close down in April for Liga MX, so at the end of April, it's like at the end of April, it's like.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. We're gonna do our last show, probably another show the weekend after Easter. Do we got anybody else watching yet? Just you two. We'll see. And you guys have shared it.
Yeah, I shared it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, something like just sit down and enjoy a beer for the next episode.
Yeah, I really.
That's the best. That's the best thing you can do right now.
I really should just grab a beer is what I should do. We're all in shot. That's crazy how there's a delay.
Yeah, like a couple seconds of age.
It's tripping me out. Oh man.
Yeah, I'll go like third page.
Yeah, I wonder if he's watching. Go on the group chat and go on our, because you're on the team group chat, so everyone to tune in. Texas Soccer Live.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, they messed everyone out. I'm gonna get started soon though, because if someone watches the recording later, obviously,
Yeah.
they don't want to see a bunch of bullcrap. We're good. Okay. We're going to get started here in another minute. I think, like I said, I'll just toss it over to you guys more so, especially when we get to this World Cup stuff. So there's a lot to talk about with USA and Mexico, more so with USA than Mexico. But and then I'm gonna hit on some of the other. I wrote down some of the scores here, so let me know if we got anybody else watching. Or did you tell them?
Yeah. Yeah, I put some picture of his computer.
They have to search for me is what they have to search for. Because I'm on live streaming, or they have to be friends with you.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, because I share that link, so like,
Yeah.
anyone can.
There's multiple ways. This is
Yeah.
it's a public video.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll tell you what, they're not, well, people will start joining, hopefully, and we'll see what happens, but it's already recorded, so. All right, guys, I'd like to welcome everybody back for our second episode here on Texas Soccer Live. I'm Sean Telez. We got now in the flesh Raul Bermudez, not on the phone this week, and once again, Raul Villarreal here with all the commentary on all things soccer. So we decided to have a show earlier than usual. We were going to wait till around Easter until the start of Champions League, but there's just so much that's been going on with league play, but also the international with World Cup qualifiers and all sorts of stuff. We wanted to have a quick show for y'all and kind of, like I said, build on what we did last time. We're listening to your comments and your views, so please, if you're tuning in now live at any point during the show, make sure that you comment, ask questions, tell us what you think, if you agree, disagree, etc. Also, don't forget to like our page at Texas Soccer Live, and we'll be posting stuff there all the time. Every day we're posting something, some soccer-related story, getting your thoughts, getting your commentary. Also, don't forget about our buddies over at Unsportsmanlike Conduct Houston. They had their show earlier today at noon. They air every Saturday. They talk all things sports. They're talking a lot of NCAA, a lot of NBA, MVP talk. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go check them out. And like I said, soccer, you're in the right spot. So to jump things off, let's start at home, and then we'll work our way abroad. First thing we want to talk about was both Dynamo past and the Dynamo present. Now, what we saw before the break, clearly the hot streak of the Dynamo, being this monster that could not be beaten, clearly ran into a buzzsaw, if you will, with the Portland Timbers. Losing 4-2, yes, first road game of the season, but I think it showed a couple things. So I just want to throw it over to the guys here. Just kind of initial thoughts on what you thought about that game, and more importantly, what does it mean in terms of us as Dynamo fans?
I mean, it's the beginning of the season, so I just feel, that since it's the beginning of the season, a lot of people, the Dynamo, they won a couple games, they lost, but that happens everywhere, you win some, you lose some. It's too early to call it, honestly. There's many more games to come. The MLS just began. Anything could happen. The Dynamo, a good, strong team. Mm-hmm. They're in third place right now in the Western Conference. So, that's not bad. It's a really good start. There's many more games to come. The Portland Timbers, obviously, they're a really good team. Yeah. Throughout the past years, the Dynamo is really good good, some good players, but there's always room for improvement, not just in the Dynamo, but in every team,
Well, I talk about a fan base. I don't know if you guys, I saw the highlights from that game. I wasn't able to watch all of it live, but Portland, I wish Houston has a legit fan base, but there's something about soccer in the Northwest. If you go to, maybe because they've had champions in Seattle and Portland, they are fanatical about those teams. Yeah. And when you watch those games, it makes it more exciting to watch, quite frankly. I think the fans make the game. What did you think about everything that went down?
It's the start of the season right now. It's kind of hard to start off with an amazing record like that. Especially with the new season, with new head coach and some fresh legs out on the field. So they're gonna have to improve, and maybe it'll be a while till they're able to have like an undefeated streak, but right now I think they're off to a good start. They took one loss, but you're eventually going to take a loss throughout the season. So and Portland Timbers is just an amazing team right now. They have good quality players. I'm pretty sure their fan base had a lot of pressure on the Dynamo players, and hopefully they'll be able to get this win, the next win against the New York Red Bulls, and see how it goes.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there are no teams left in the MLS undefeated. All of them, everyone's seen at least one loss. Even Portland, they've played one extra game than the Dynamo. Yes, they have 9 points, but they also have a loss on there, so there's nobody perfect. We'll come back and talk more about some of the other MLS teams, but I think one of the things, looking at that loss, looking at tactics, those of you Dynamo fans, we talked about last time how aggressive the Dynamo were this year under Wilmer Cabrera, new coach, new style. What I love about him is, as I said last time, he recognizes that his players are what they are. We don't have some dominant midfield. We have an older defense, but we have some fast shooters and and speed. And he even said in his press conferences, even before this loss, the other games, he said, "Look, it's a double-edged sword." And one of the things you saw in that game is they got caught on counters. Yeah. They came out being very aggressive. And when a defense is able to stop you when you're being very aggressive, the counters on the wings were very susceptible. A couple things that they like to do is that the Dynamo, if you watch their games, they really crowd the box, both defensively and offensively, which is great. They have more bodies. They're going to outnumber you. But what they got caught is there's a difference between crowding the box and clumping in the box. Yeah. And what happened was, and everyone saw it, the Dynamo were up 2-1. Those 3 goals that turned that game on its head happened in a 10-minute period, and the defense was just reeling. And if you look at their back four, they're combined. So I think really going ahead in the future, we're going to have to look at who's going to step up and be a leader. They have a veteran on that line in Beasley, but I think Tyler Derrick is going to have to get more vocal as the goalkeeper and directing his defense. I think the offense is going to keep doing their job. They're going to keep scoring. Like I said, in a loss, they still had 2 goals. So they can score, but the question is how much are we going to let them score? And I think that's the big dilemma going forward, in my opinion. Going forward, the test doesn't get any easier. The Eastern Conference right now is a mess with all 4 teams in the top 7 points. One of them being the New York Red Bulls, off to a fast start as well. 2 wins, a loss, and a draw. And they come into Dynamo Stadium with, I was doing the research on here, with a dominant record over the Dynamo all time. It's been very difficult for whatever reason for the Dynamo to beat New York, even when we were in our championship years. So, kind of, what are y'all thoughts? What do you anticipate tonight? Because the game is tonight here at BBA Compass. Kind of give me y'all's impression. What do you think you're going to see and what's going to happen?
Well, I'm going with the 3-2. I feel like we're going to score. The Rebels is a good team. In the past, they've shown that they're a really good dominant team. The Dynamo are going to have to step up, coming back from a loss road game. You got to come back, refresh, have the energy and momentum to go on to the next game. And, it's going to be, it's not just going to be for one person. It's going to be for a whole team. Not one guy's going to have to do all the work, but it's going to be as a whole, I know the Dynamo, it shouldn't let it get them down, but it's beginning of the season, new coach, everything. I feel like they should be able to win, I'm going to have the shirt today, game day shirt, so, I think the Dynamo should win 3-2. So, I think if it's not 3-2, it's either a 2-1.
So you're looking for a lot of offense.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the game.
Bro, what do you think?
I think they're going to have to go out there, especially since they're at home. It's a home game, so they're going to have a lot of their fan base out there. Should be a good game. It's the beginning of the season, like I said, so, they shouldn't beat themselves up over a loss. If anything, that should encourage them to go out there and try and get a win today, especially being home. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think they're going to walk out with a win today.
One concern, though, that happened, we're going to talk about international friendlies and whatnot. In the USA-Honduras game, one of the Dynamo players plays for Honduras, Romel Kyoto, who's been on fire with one of those 3 forwards with Torres and Ellis, is projected probably to be out this game because he did go pretty hard down against the U.S. His shoulder, he'd probably be out for a game. Not a major injury, but I think one thing for fans to look forward to tonight is to see who potentially is going to fill in that winger spot. Alex Wenger is one of them they've mentioned before. There's a couple other veterans on the squad. So it'll be interesting to see. This is really going to be the first test for Cabrera on an injury and how do you adopt your lineup when you don't have the guys who have been producing for you. Kyoto's been a big part of that attack. So at least for this game, they won't have him. On the flip side of that, one of the guys that impressed me, I was looking at some research, is the midfielder, Alex, the Brazilian on the team, is tied already for a fast start. He has 3 assists, 3 games, and is tied for the MLS lead in assists. So I think that's going to be another critical player to watch. I want to get y'all's thoughts on this because they're playing the Red Bulls, and the Red Bulls got some national attention with their coach, who made some comments in reference to their last game. They started off 2-0. They've since been frustrated with the loss in a tie, and they were very frustrated at their last game, how they were being played. They were complaining to the refs about it being too physical, on how they were allowing stuff to happen, and they're arguing. Their coach is saying that they need to call it more, and that this brutal style, as he called it, brutal style of football is this what's become American, is what he's called it, is not good for the game. That if you want the MLS to be respected and this league to grow, that we have to emphasize more of the skills rather than the strength, like other leagues do. I don't know what your thoughts are. On one hand, it sounds like a coach who's mad that he's lost a game in a tie and is frustrated. On the other hand, he may have a point. Where do y'all stand on that?
It's all frustration, when you lose, you tend to get frustrated. But I just feel like, soccer, it's a physical game, You have guys coming at you from every angle. You're running, you never know. Someone could come from behind, do a back hit on you. But I just feel that every sport is a physical game, believe it or not. Most games, people hate losing. And I just feel that you know, soccer, it's always, you know, guys, you know, go up against each other. You know, they're jumping for the ball. You know, people are trying to save the ball. People want to be the hero, and then, you know, sometimes, you know, when you want to be a hero, you know, you're gonna have to hit a guy. You know, being slide tackle. I mean, it's just something normal, you know. But I mean, I just feel like, you know, I guess those comments that he made, they're probably out of frustration. I just feel that, I mean, you know, when you get frustrated, lose a couple games, I mean, hey, the real anger is coming out, and then the real you is out there.
Right. I mean, your thoughts, Raul. I mean, he's not the first person to criticize what I would call the American game, which has been called by many as being more physical than other leagues. I mean, do you think there's some validity to that point, or what do you think on that issue?
I feel, well, to begin with, I feel like he's very frustrated because it's not the way he wanted to start off, like, completely. I mean, maybe he wanted to go out there, and maybe he thought that it'd be a pretty even game against Portland Timbers, and that wasn't supposed to be the result that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure he's frustrated because he didn't start off the way he wanted to, and which is understandable. No coach out there wants to start like that. But I mean, soccer's just a physical game. I mean, there's going to be some calls where you're just not going to have no control over them at the end of the day. I mean, it's the ref's call, which, I mean, you could be it doesn't matter for what team you go for. I mean, if you go for Dynamo, it could be like you're going to call a penalty, but you know it's not a penalty. But why? I mean, you're just taking your team's side.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of that took place. Like, the teams, they were being very physical, but if you're a coach, you just have to let the ref take that into his own hands. And I mean, if you get mad at the end of the game, I mean, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, I do. It does sound like it is a coach being frustrated. I will say there is some validity because, I mean, I've heard this point before, and where you hear it from is you look at other European stars who've come here almost in retirement, really. Once I think of last year's, I think of someone like Pirlo, for example. His first comment was he criticized the game in America because it was too rough. And a lot of us as Americans say, you know, suck it up, let's go, you know, this is what we are, we're rough and stuff. But it really is interesting. It's a very different opinion on the game as you go around the world. And it's something to look at as one of the points that I think we all agree on is if a country is going to become great at soccer on an international level, it starts at your academies all the way down with the youth. That's how you build it up. And then with your national league and so on. And it's something interesting as we continue to go and we see more and more American teams and whether they go far or not in the World Cup, is it because our style of play just doesn't work? Or is it because, like I said, we just need to get better at it? So it's a toss-up, but I definitely think that the MLS has taken definitely a tougher approach. I mean, maybe that's what makes us unique. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the branding that when you think about the MLS, it's going to be the more physical league out of all of them. It's not going to be your Italian league. It's not going to be your La Liga. It's not going to be the finesse that you see there. And, you know, that is what it is.
It's a developing, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we just don't have the history. I mean, I was telling you earlier that I feel like it really the last 20 years we've seen 90% of the growth in U.S. soccer. I mean, we had very, very almost minimal growth, and all of a sudden, academies exploded, the MLS exploded, USA went successful, you know, got farther in the World Cup in the late 90s. It's a process, and I think that the one thing I think is constant. The more you have fans of soccer, the more they feel invested in soccer, the more you'll see change. When people stop caring about a sport, you're not going to see any improvement. So I think it's a good thing if there are people out there frustrated the way things are, good. Because if they're frustrated, that usually means we're going to produce some change. Because, I mean, if the MLS wants to make money, they're going to adapt to calling the games the way most people want to see the games called. Plain and simple. Okay. Switching gears. MLS, being one of the leagues and many, did not have games last week because it was an official international break for World Cup qualifiers all over the world. There's several we want to talk about. Obviously, we want to highlight just because I know a lot of our viewers are going to care about USA and Mexico in particular. So we'll start off with that. But there were some also significant events that happened with other games. I'm going to start off with this, and I'm going to let y'all go. All I'm going to say is, and those of you that know me for a long time and know soccer, know that I was never a huge fan of Jurgen Klinsmann. I was one of the haters, and everyone said, be quiet, give him a chance, give him a chance. blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what, viewers and fans? I was right. Klinsmann was a problem. Clearly, we're on the right track now. Is Bruce Arena some magician? I don't know. But what I do know is that if I can't say that Klinsmann, I can't say that Arena was pushing them forward, I can say without a doubt now that Jurgen Klinsmann was holding them back. With the formations, with the lineup, instantly right away, you saw a difference, in my opinion, in this USA squad. Josie Altidore, who was almost put on the shelf under Jurgen Klinsmann and forgotten about, all of a sudden becomes it. Dempsey, who was basically rotting and basically going away, we thought he was going to retire, has a hat trick and another goal, in 2 games. Embracing the youth, Christian Pulisic, and allowing him to, have substantial time and be in that lineup. Going with the guy who got you there, Tim Howard. And once again, a move that Klinsmann tried to change. He saw Tim Howard as old and not able to do it, so bring in Brad Guzan, bring the other guys, and put him on the shelf. Arena realizes what's working now is what's working. So don't try and, he overthought it. In my opinion, Klinsmann overthought his lineups. He overthought his rosters. And finally, we had someone who come in and goes, that person's better, they should play that position. And what's the result? A 6-0 trouncing. I get it, a Honduras, but still a trouncing, a much needed one to get us out of the hole we were in with goals. And a 1-1 tie with a long-standing rival in Panama. We would have loved to win, but, it is what it is. I want to get y'all's thoughts. Obviously, you can very tell what I'm saying. I'm very strong, opinionated, and passionate about this. I'm curious what y'all think, what you saw looking at USA, looking at these games, looking at how they play, looking at the lineup, kind of your takeaways.
The Honduras game was always a one-sided game. I was actually really excited to see, Clint Dempsey play at Texas native. And Christian Pulisic, it's really, he's doing really well.
3 assists.
Yeah. Oh my, it's crazy. He's on fire, man. And he's right now one of the center views for the show right now. I honestly, I didn't really expect that much, but he's doing it, man. He's working it. He's passing the ball. He has a couple of assists. I think he's gonna do really well in the World Cup if USA gets there.
Yeah, which is not a done deal.
Yeah,
I know USA fans and the American Outlaws out there are all saying, I believe. I said, calm down. We have work to do.
Yeah.
We have work to do. I get it. I want to be cautious. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I still feel very strongly that Klinsmann was a problem. His philosophy and his tactics, although I'm not doubting him as he was a player, I'm sure he's a great coach for certain teams. It did not fit with the personnel that we had. It just didn't work. I think we picked a guy because, here's a German champion. Let him impose German tactics, his ideas on a USA squad. It just didn't work. It didn't work. And I guess a lesson learned. But what are your thoughts, Raul?
Well, I feel like Germany, when it comes to soccer, that they don't play around. Their league is no joke. Obviously their coaches have some sort of impact. So I feel like the U.S. was like, let's bring a German over. You see how their league works and you see how they're doing things. Let's see if he has some sort of impact. But it just didn't work like that because USA has quality players, but when you look at German players, it's very different from the style that they play. You can't really bring a style that German play to how U.S. players play. It's just not gonna click like that. So I feel like the U.S. made the right move to get rid of him and bring someone in new that knows what they're doing and is just straight up about it. They're not gonna beat around the bush and say, look, this guy's better than this guy, and I'm gonna start him. Why are you gonna start someone just because they're younger? Normally, when they're younger, they don't really have the talent and they've never been exposed to situations like that. So I feel like bringing someone older back that has been through that already was a good move for them.
Well, and plus Arena is also someone who not only has been affiliated with Team USA before, but he also was coaching the MLS. So he's coaching the system where a lot of these guys are coming out of. We talked about system, getting used to the culture, and what you're used to. I think about, and circling back to Pulisic, talk about German. why? And once again, I think it's a point. A lot of people out there will say, give it time. The MLS will get better, and it will. But look, if you are a USA fan and you want USA Soccer to be legit and go far in the World Cup, we need to be a fan. And yes, it means it's a hit on the MLS. We need to, in my opinion, be a fan of our people, our players, American-born players, playing in other leagues. Because Christian Pulisic is the poster child for that. He gets a chance with Dortmund, who is one of the top teams historically and currently in the German Bundesliga, and it starts off very slow, a couple games, but he is over within a year, had a meteoric rise. Jermaine, who am I thinking of? We've had Jermaine Jones played the Bundesliga, right?
Yeah.
These guys who have experience, if you're going to beat international teams, you got to play against international players. And the MLS doesn't have that yet. Yeah. We don't. When that happens, then great. I know the argument will be back saying, well, you'll never get international players unless your league gets better, and you got to keep your good players here. Well, I don't buy into that argument. I mean, I think that the way we get better players here in the MLS is that the USA Soccer as a team does better, because if they prove to be better, we won't need as many guys to go overseas. People will perceive American soccer as higher quality and want to play here. I just think that money is not going to get the best players here. The players want to go to the best. Money is an incentive, of course, but they want to go to the more established soccer cultures that win. Where are the best leagues in the world? They happen to be with the countries that have some of the best international teams. We talk about the Premier League, we talk about in England, we talk about La Liga in Spain, we talk about the Bundesliga in Germany. And what do those teams do? They win.
Yeah.
And they go far every year. They have World Cup titles. So I just think that it's this should be a big wake-up call, I think, to USA Soccer as a federation and just a lot of people. Now, as you said, they're not there yet. We're in the middle. There's a lot more in this hex system that we're playing. Top three automatically you're in, and then I think the fourth should get in, but has to play a couple extra games, win points to get in. USA is sitting in that I believe in the fourth position, and the win over Panama would have been nice. However, going forward, you got a match against Trinidad and Tobago, who is now behind us on June 8th, and then a big one, Mexico, June 11th. Now here's the deal. Mexico, as we'll talk about in a second, is in. I mean, Mexico has to have a historic collapse not to be a CONCACAF team in the World Cup. I mean, and not to be number one. Them and Costa Rica are pretty much it. But I think that June 11th test, we'll know if Bruce Arena and this new American squad, or at least the new lineup, is legit. I will remind people he did this with people who were, Bobby Wood was out. There were several other guys who were injured. So we weren't healthy and we were able to do that. I'd be interested to see a healthy American squad with this new philosophy against what I think is a very strong Mexico squad. They showed that as well. And then obviously in July we'll have the Gold Cup going forward and be able to see what they're really made of. So switch gears. Speaking of Mexico, what are y'all's thoughts? This seemed to be and I'll start with you, Raul. This seemed to be like a practice to them. I mean, they just cruised through this.
Yeah, I watched the game, and I mean, when it comes to Mexico's national team, I'm kind of on and off about it. I mean, they've had some times where they like go down, but I mean, right now they seem to be like on top of everything, and they know what they're doing. I mean, this coach actually brought in some good players. I applaud him for not bringing in half of America's team, because I mean that's what they always used to do, and I mean when they used to do that, they never really got the results that they wanted. So now that they brought in some old players, they brought in some fresh legs too, players that had never been called up to the national team, and I feel like this game, it was sort of a test, but it looks like it was just like a practice to them. They were out there practicing and just getting ready for a bigger challenge that should be coming up. But right now, if they keep up with this pace, they should be good. And hopefully, once they get into the World Cup, they'll be able to use that and progress on it and get a little bit farther down the road than they normally do.
And they have the same couple qualifiers. They'll run into USA again on June 11th, and they have I think it's Panama they're playing.
Well, their biggest test is always U.S. I mean, everybody looks to it. That's like,
especially when it's here.
Yeah, especially when it's here. It's like you have clásicos, but I mean, for national soccer, that's the clásico that you want to watch. I mean, it's always Mexico and U.S.
Because there's been plenty of years when Mexico was the dominant team and USA won.
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting how there's something that goes on if that match takes place. And I think this year is going to take on a little bit more meaning. What's interesting, I think, about Mexico is they seem to be taking a little bit more rigorous approach. They have also got their schedule. The U.S. may schedule some friendlies, but Mexico's already picked off, I saw Croatia, Ireland, both in May. They're staying in shape, which is what I like. I like to see a team that is going to keep not waiting for the must-win games. They run those friendlies. I think USA will probably win a few, but what I want to see is, and I'm not saying these. I mean, Croatia actually has a pretty decent team with the guys they have, and Ireland's got a little bit better. I want to see USA play some friendlies as well, but not against the U.S. Virgin Islands, not against the Bahamas. Okay, let's play some friendlies against some teams that actually have a chance of doing something. And that's what Mexico's doing. I have respect for that. I actually, to answer that, they play us and they also play our friends in Honduras. So we'll see if my point is, and by the way, what are your thoughts? I know we talked about this, the Honduran fans. This story was ridiculous. Raul, explain to them what happened and like what your thoughts are. I mean, I know soccer's intense, but these guys, the videos that came out, were just silly.
So. I was watching a couple of videos, and I know a lot of soccer fans hate to see their team lose. I for one know, whenever I would see my team lose, I lose it. Anybody loses it, and as the Honduran players were leaving the stadium, a couple of the fans were talking trash to them, telling them that they're trash. Yeah,
literally.
Cursing at them, and I get it. It's frustrating. You lose 6-0. Anyone gets mad. Yeah. It happens. But I just feel that it's a lot of pressure. Some players take that as motivation. Others don't. I get it. Hey, a lot of. But I bet a lot of the viewers are Sunday League players and have been there. They've lost 3-0, 4-0.
Yeah.
You move on. You move on. Open a new page in the book. Get back out there, exercise more, and anything, get out there, win some more games. But I just feel that, you don't treat your players like that. It's just disrespectful. It really is disrespectful. A lot of them, they're gonna go home, and then people are gonna be hating them, but it's just not something you do. It's really disrespectful, and you just don't do that. I know there's frustration, but patience, okay? It's a game of patience. Soccer, you win some, you lose some. That's how it is.
I think people don't realize how. I think out of all the sports, there's really not a sport that fans play a bigger role.
Yeah.
Like in just the momentum of a team. I know, like I've been to basketball games, they're intense, they feel it, and football games, but soccer is different. And like for example, soccer teams have a dialogue. It was Ochoa came out from Mexico and was like telling the fans, knock it off with these certain slurs, certain words that are used as fans. I'm not going to repeat it, but the words that are said when an opposing goalie kicks the ball, because it's getting them in trouble with FIFA, and they're going to get match bans because of it. So it's interesting because the players that's a player, that's not the team. That's a player having direct dialogue with the fans, saying, "Look, you need this." So you don't see that as much in other sports. You may see the team speak up, but players feeling comfortable enough to do that. And I think it's right. Why that was frustrating about that is Honduras is not a bad team.
Yeah.
There's some young talent, including two of our Dynamo players are two of their young talent. A couple 20-year-olds that have a lot of promise. And I think that it's just a shame that they got to get ridiculed like that. Let's see. As you look at the other games, I was looking at this, there are really no surprises. All the qualifiers. If you look over in Europe, all the usual teams won. Your Italy, England, Germany, Spain, France, all stayed at top. They played teams that they should have beat. Easy, no surprises. what has been a surprise region for me when it comes to competition has been South America.
Yes.
Because Argentina is not all of a sudden the giant that they always are. Brazil has been in fine form, considering the collapse they had last World Cup. They have been annihilating people. It was 4-1 over Uruguay, 3-0 over Paraguay. So they've been rolling. Colombia has built on their momentum, and now you have, like I said, two teams that clearly are emerging as the top. Chile continues to be down. Now, yes, Argentina did beat Chile 1-0, but then turned around and lost 0-2 to Bolivia.
Easy team.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, it's not talking down on Bolivia, but usually, Bolivia would always lose to Argentina, but I mean, hey, it's a qualifier. Anything happens, you could.
They're in a situation like the U.S. in their hex right now.
Yeah,
they're not. I think they're in third or fourth now in the hexagonal system going forward. So they're not automatically. And what's interesting, for the next 4 qualifiers, they're not going to have Mr. Lionel Messi. So, what are your thoughts on this? Because the story was, it's been conflicting reports. The story was, according to FIFA, that he talked in a threatening way. It sounds very much like the situation we talked about last episode in Liga MX. And he threatened a ref in a way. The consequence, though, 4 games. I mean, I don't know what that is with FIFA.
My thing about this is that you can always be verbal with a ref as long as you don't touch him. But I feel what took place in this situation is that at the end of the day, the one who was talking, and you never expect him to talk like that, is Messi. Mm-hmm. That's why I feel like he got 4 games.
It's overreach.
It's Messi that's doing it. So it's like, oh, well. And I feel like they're trying to send out a message saying, hey, look, we're not going to hesitate to give this 5-star player 4-game suspension. So if I were you, I'd cut down on the talking and stuff. So I feel like they're.
If it was another player, do you think they would have given the same suspension?
No, if anything, like 1, at the most 1 or 2 games. But I feel like it was Messi that did it. So they were like, hey, you know what? We're going to give Messi 4 games just because it's Messi. He didn't. I mean, you can always be verbal with the ref, but I feel like that's what took place into it. It's like it being Messi, they gave it 4 games.
The team is good. I'm not saying they rely on just Messi. There's a lot of talent, obviously, in Argentina team.
The thing about Argentina is that they've always been a good team. They've always had like very good players, but it's come to the point to where I feel like they need to start changing it up. Like Chile was never as big as Argentina was.
Yeah.
But Chile all of a sudden came up. You seen them beat them in penalties last time. They beat them in penalties this time too. So it's like Chile's on the come up right now. They're getting fresh legs.
They've gone far in the last couple World Cups.
So I mean, I think that's what Argentina needs to do. It's like, hey, like I get that we have like players that play in Europe and all of that, but it's time to bring in some young legs and see how it works out.
It's almost. Do you think it is? I mean, Raul, do you think it's almost like what we saw with Brazil going into their last World Cup, where it's like, because when you are so culturally in the sport, so dominant as a country, do you think it's that many people argue that Brazil in 2014 got complacent, that because they were used to being so dominant, and that added the pressure that they're in their own country hosting. Do you think that is with Argentina, that there's this sense of complacency because we've been so good for so long that why change anything, that we're good to go? And maybe what's happening is they're starting to have some older players now. The other teams are figuring them out because they haven't changed it. I mean, everybody can be figured out and beat.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you have so many big teams like that, you just go with the same roster every game. Mm-hmm. Every game, same roster. Sometimes you have to change it up a little bit. It doesn't hurt to change it up a little bit. And that's actually what Jurgen Klinsmann was doing with USA. He changed up the roster. He was bringing in young people, a lot of young talent. And, I mean, sometimes it'll be good, sometimes it'll be bad. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you can see, by putting in younger people, this guy has potential. Let's keep him. This guy doesn't have potential. I mean, it's all putting in the right chess pieces in every team. And I mean, I feel like teams like that they've won, World Cups. They won, they have players that win championship with their club teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, they feel that there's no need because they feel like they have figured out the system. And, even if you have the system figured out, there's always something that you can work on. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you can never get too sure. You can never be too sure that you're gonna win in the game. You see, Argentina and Bolivia, everybody was thinking, oh yeah, Argentina's gonna go in and win it. What happened? 2-0 loss right there, and now they're in a hole.
Yeah.
They need to hurry up.
And if they're not careful,
Yeah.
my concern for them is that if they let this loss of Messi get to them, they're going to be in a deep hole. I mean, to the point that if they come out of this, if they lose 2 out of these 4, or especially this 3 out of these 4, they're going to be in a hole that I don't think Messi can even dig them out of.
Yeah, but also I feel that big teams like that, they shouldn't rely on just one player. Soccer is a team effort. You should always go out there, and then you have other good players. Di Maria is a good player. He's got it now. I mean, you saw how great he played first like PSG against Barcelona.
Yeah.
Perfect. He was on form. You need players like that are gonna step up. They shouldn't see this. Even though it was not a right call against Messi, but this is the time where other players should step up, get in there, and make some goals. Get some goals in there.
Yeah.
Get some wins, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of this, you kind of mentioned, you alluded to Champions League stuff, and let's kind of shift gears and look at the rest of Europe and whatnot. So in a couple weeks we have first leg, Champions League, and then a week after the second leg. Some exciting games we talked about last time when we made our picks. We differed on a few, but I think for the most part it's going to be. There's not going to be a bad game, and I'm telling everyone on the 11th and 12th, if you want to see some good games, you turn in and watch these 4 matches. Because there's not a bad matchup here at all. Looking around the league, I found it very interesting in Champions League. We were just talking about this, that PSG won the French title
Yes.
over Monaco. For some reason, Monaco didn't look too upset. Oh, maybe it's the fact that they're in the Champions League. I just find it interesting that really is that tournament has gotten to a level that it's greater than any league title, and it's definitely, for some people, it's more valuable than their own country winning the title. If their club that they root for were to win the Champions League in Europe, it's bigger than if their country won the World Cup. I kind of wish we had stuff like that here. We got close to that. We went with the Centenario this past summer.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that, bringing in those South American teams. But it's just a shame because there's really nothing. I can't compare any type of tournament or Champions tournament, even the World Cup for club teams. There's something different about the Champions League that I just can't, because it's never bad. It's never bad. So you guys got any thoughts on teams that you're going with? I know we made our picks on these each game. But is there any in particular team that you think can take it all the way, or do you think something that they should be careful because they're at risk of losing? What do you guys think? Any final thoughts before the Champions? Because next time we air is going to be after these matches.
I feel like actually the one game that I'm really excited about the Champions League is going to be Leicester City against Atletico.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Leicester. They're an interesting team to watch. They're actually, like you said, a Cinderella team.
So they're the only team that's not dominating in their country's league.
Yeah, they're not doing good in their league, but I mean, right now it's crazy. They are there. Not many people were doubting. They're probably gonna be. People were saying, you know what, Leicester City is not gonna be that good. They're probably gonna maybe make it to the group stage and then get kicked out. But I mean,
they got the team they wanted.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any complaints from Premier League people because this is the best match you could have got. That sounds like I'm knocking Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
But if I'm Leicester City and I'm choosing between Juventus, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, I would take Atletico Madrid. I mean, I don't want to hear from them. This is what you want. Now it's time to execute.
Yeah. I mean, Atletico's a good team. You've seen the past.
They
win. They never give up.
Aggressive.
Yeah, they're really aggressive. I mean, it's the coaching. Great coach they have.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't give up. But Leicester, hey, they stunned some of the big teams in the Premier League, and who knows? They could, maybe stun them. You have 2 legs, so it's too early to call it. I'm just gonna wait for the second leg. Anything could happen. Like we saw with Barcelona and PSG. No one thought that the comeback was going to be real. there you go. There you have it in paper.
Right. What are your thoughts?
Well, I feel like Atletico Madrid being in that same situation, they got the team that they wanted to get because they didn't get a Real Madrid, they didn't get a Barcelona, so I feel like they lucked out too. So I'm pretty sure they're both feeling like, hey, we could get a spot in the second leg already, and we don't have to go through the toughest teams that are out there right now. Although I feel like it's going to be very interesting these few first games, and everybody's expecting Barcelona or Real Madrid to win, but for some reason I feel like now neither one of those teams is going to win it this year.
It'd be interesting though if you end up with 3 La Liga teams in the semis, which is happened before. That'd be nuts. I don't think that's going to happen. I agree with you. I think Real Madrid has a hell of a test against Bayern Munich. And Juventus. They are going against 2 league. I mean, Bayern Munich is killing the Bundesliga, and Juventus has been killing Serie A. So, I mean, like you said, it's not a sure thing. Everyone wants to go for it because it's the popular choice. Which brings me to our kind of last point here. It's interesting looking at the leagues in Europe now. I want to get y'all's thoughts. We have two leagues, actually 3 leagues, where there is just one clear dominant first place. Chelsea in the Premier League, which we'll talk about. It's a little interesting what happened today. Juventus in the Italian League. Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. We're talking almost a double-digit point lead. We're going to the final stretch. They're on all cylinders. Amazing. We just saw PSG, who was in second, actually pull off win the French league. And then the only league that is close, and this is going to be interesting, is La Liga.
Yes.
I want to get y'all's thoughts because speaking of these teams, Atletico Madrid is not even third in that league. They're fourth. Sevilla right now is in fourth. You have Barcelona back by only 2 points. Real Madrid's keeping that 2-point lead, but one game that changes. How do y'all see, with all this going on with the Champions, we're focusing on that, who do you guys think, if you had to pick today, who do you think is going to come out in La Liga? Because that's the one league where it's a toss-up right now.
Yeah. It's anything goes. Week by week you have to be out there winning. You have Madrid. They've been winning games. But they're not ahead. They're just one game ahead. One win, and they tie up. Barca has a chance to basically win it. Barcelona has to be winning. It's just gonna be a really close game. But I think I'm gonna go with Barcelona.
Because we're getting towards the end. I'm looking at where exactly we are in the schedule. Like I said, Atletico Madrid kept rolling today. Tomorrow, both Real Madrid and Barcelona should be cupcake winning games. But like I said, you don't take anything for granted here. Who do you think? You think Barcelona can pull out the win? Do you think Madrid's going to keep it, or do you think that we're going to see a dark horse like Sevilla or Atletico Madrid charge forward? Because they can.
The way I see it is, right now with those 4 teams, it's whoever wants it as bad as they do will get it. You're looking at Real Madrid and Barcelona; they're always up there. They're always going to be up there, and you'll be surprised. It'll be very surprising to see one of those 4 teams that aren't Barcelona and Madrid come up and take it, because I'm pretty sure it'll give Barcelona and Real Madrid a wake-up call, like, where did these guys come from? But the way I view it is, I like picking an underdog at times, but right now I'm going to stick with either Real Madrid or Barcelona.
It'd be interesting to see, since this is coincided with Champions League, if one feeds off the other. If Real Madrid, for example, I think if any team can pull off both, that's going to be impressive. If you can pull off wins at both, which I think is going to be very difficult for anyone. I don't see, right now, you can call it. I don't see anybody challenging any of these other teams. However, I found it interesting today, Chelsea, who was the unbeatable giant in Premier League, went down. Crystal Palace took them down. It was a 3-2. Once again, though, do you think that's something for Chelsea to be, or 2-1, excuse me, to be concerned about? Because we're looking at this, getting to the final stretch here. They're at 69 points. The Hotspurs are at 62 behind them, and then it drops off to Liverpool 59, Man City 57. My personal pick, who I was saying early on in the season, who's been surging, is 5th place Man U. And and I think they can make some noise in the playoffs. But they ended up having a tie today, and time is running out. We're looking at the final 10 games now. Yeah, less than that. So final 8 games in the Premier League. You think anybody can challenge Chelsea, or we just? I mean, is it just a shoe-in that they're going to end up with being the point leader?
I just feel they're gonna be the point leader. I mean, it's just they're just so far ahead. I mean, they could easily just be laid back. I mean, they're not even in the Champions, so I mean, it's not even a big deal for them.
Right.
It's just
only their 4th loss today out of 29 games.
Which is, I mean, that's really impressive. That's a really great season they've been having. I mean, Diego Costa's been really doing really good plays, really good goals, but I feel like they're gonna win it, but but who knows, Spurs is right there, around that area, but I mean, I just feel that anything could happen, but Chelsea's gonna win it, they're gonna win it.
Like I said, they can't have Crystal Palace, by the way, before this game. Well, now, even with the win, are still in 16th place. Out of 20. So, maybe call it maybe a day off. You can't be on top of everything. All right, I want to throw it over to you, Raul, because I want to get you kind of to conclude things for today, because I wanted to talk about, bring it back home, and let's look at our 2 regional leagues, both being MLS and Liga MX. I want to get your thoughts. I have my opinions, but there are a couple of key games in Liga MX, and we're going to defer to you on this. Let's talk about close. We mentioned this last game. Just to give an overview for everyone, to make sure we're clear. Chivas is in first place in Liga MX with 20 points. Monterrey and Toluca are at 19. Tijuana and Pachuca are tied at 17. Monarcas and Querétaro are at 15. Pumas and Club America and Atlas are at 14. Santos Chiapas at 13. Tigres at 12. So if you look at that, even in 13th place, Tigres and Veracruz at 12, 13, 14, you're talking only 8 points from being 14th in this league to being first place. Now, that's a couple games, 3 games to overcome that. But the top 8 are only separated by 6 points. I don't know how else to do this, because this is nuts going forward. We have
so many calculations.
We're week 12. I know it goes to 17. I'm assuming, do we know, are they going to make up the game that was...
Most of those games should be made up April 10th and 11th, from what I've heard.
So we will see those games eventually made up. Your thoughts. So 3 games I picked out. Rayados and America, Monarcas and Chivas, Atlas, Tijuana, and of course I know you got to get a plug-in for your Tigres. Kind of walk us through what do you think we should look for this week, and what's going on with that?
Well, right now, the way I think, Chivas and Monterrey this is the Liga for them, and they want to get as many points in so they can qualify. But they also have to pay attention to, you're going to be playing each other soon for the Copa MX, so that game's going to be coming up. So I feel like they should save some of their players, because that game's coming up. America Monterrey should be a very interesting game, especially since America's trying to rack up their points to qualify to the top 8. I mean, they're number 9 right now. If they get the win, they'll move up. Right now, Monterrey is. It's not really a game to be worried about, but I mean,
it's a good test.
It's a good test for them, and also the thing about it is that being April already, it's closing down. It's almost closing time for La Liga MX. So I mean, these games are going to start counting, because if you start losing games now, you always want to end up at the top 4, home field advantage always. So that's the way you want to end the season. So that game should be a real test for Monterrey and America. The next game, I think, is a very good, challenging game, because we haven't seen Monarcas up there in a while whatsoever.
They've surged lately. I think what I was looking at, they won. They've racked up 6 or 7 points in the last 3 games.
And we haven't seen Chivas number 1 in a very long time. I think it was the past 2 years they've progressed a lot, so I feel like they're doing good. And this is going to be a real good test for both of them.
I think their Classico win over America was. I think that's been propelling them.
Yeah, that was a good one.
They've been on a streak since then.
Atlas and Tijuana, I mean, when it comes to Atlas, I mean, Atlas has been around. That team has been around for the longest. Tijuana has too, but Atlas is very surprising at times. They're very good at counterattacking, and I feel like they should surprise Tijuana because Tijuana's up there right now, but for some reason, they've been falling a lot lately. Like they're up there and they're in the top 8, but they fall for some reason.
Let's not forget last season.
They were number 1 and they fell, so they feel like they should watch out for that. But when it comes down to my team, Tigres right now, being in 13th place, they're going against León. León is way at the bottom right now.
18th.
Yeah, so they're not doing so good. So I feel like they should take advantage of this game, rack up those points. Also be ready because during the week they're gonna play against Vancouver. So
that's right. For the is this the second leg?
This is the second leg. So hopefully,
what's the aggregate at between that right now?
It's 2-0. Tigres on top, and then you also have Pachuca and FC Dallas playing. So
yeah.
I feel like they should save their energy. So get these 3 points today and move up on the board, and then save some energy for the game during the week and see if they're able to advance to the final, and hopefully.
I like to see FC Dallas and Tigres in that. That's my personal.
Very interesting game.
FC
Dallas has been a good team,
especially if they played at Dallas and Frisco.
If they play in Dallas, I mean, I'm gonna be out there. And I mean, even if they win that whole thing, I mean, I have plans to go to the Mundial de Clubes, and I'm always willing to shed out some cash just to see them play, especially to go out there, because I mean, that's when you get to play teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid. You never see those games ever happen. So
actually, it's happening in the summer. They're playing in Miami, Barcelona and Madrid.
That's right. They announced that.
It's gonna be big. Yeah, especially in the U.S.
It's gonna be a lot of money for them.
A lot of money. Yeah. Oh, obviously. I mean, you know how Americans.
Wasn't also because they announced it was Zlatan. Man U is going to be here this summer as well, doing a bunch of exposition games and playing teams. So definitely European clubs have noticed that Americans are willing to pay for soccer. See good soccer.
But it's been happening. I mean, recently Chicago. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
The Schweinsteiger, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, a German legend. All of a sudden signing I'm talking about the dogs of the MLS. I mean, the Chicago Fire are they're a dumpster fire is what they are. Yeah. The Chicago Fire are a dumpster fire. And they spent all this money on one man. They need about 7 different spots filled on their team. But, well, we got Sebastian Schweinsteiger, and, of course, we get the good Chicago reporter that asked him right off the bat, if you didn't see the video we posted on Texas Soccer Live, of him asking him if he thinks him and the Chicago Fire can win the World Cup. Well, of course, he corrects himself afterwards and said he meant the Club World Cup, but I don't think so. So that's the sort of soccer culture, Sebastian, you are going into now as a legend in Germany. Are you happy with it? Maybe. I think he is. I would be, too, if I was getting... I didn't see the contract, but I think it's probably one of the richest contracts ever in the MLS. I mean, what do you think? What is going on? Is this just a stunt by Chicago? I mean, are they going to do anything with him? I mean,
I just feel that, a lot of the players that come, especially legends, like Andrea Pirlo, David Villa.
When Beckham came to the game.
Beckham came, and it's all honestly for the money, It's all just a track. Yeah, it really is. That's a lot of the other leagues see the MLS as the retirement league for all the greats. They come, you get paid, you retire, play a couple games, you get injured.
Well, because people. Okay, for example, I need to see if they come here this year. If the Chicago Fire come to Houston, there's going to be a lot of people who just go to the game to see Sebastian Schweinsteiger play a game because we don't know if it's going to be his last.
Yeah.
Or when his last game's going to be.
Or get a quick picture and say, "Oh wow, I met him."
It drives me nuts because it doesn't help our sport. Yeah. I love having good players like that in our league, but it doesn't help our sport. I mean, it just
shows who has more money. It shows who's going to drop cash just to see a good player come in.
Which is dumb in the MLS. That's a whole other story how they're.
The way I view it that, well, what Chicago Fire should have done was, we're going to get this player. You don't have those quality players that he played with over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the point of throwing out all that money? I get that, like, man, like he's a very good player, but the players that you have in Chicago don't match up with the players that he played with over there. So it's not going to match up. So I'm pretty sure he went. He's like, I'm getting paid. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to play, but I mean, my career's coming to an end. I'm getting older, and I feel like that's one of the things that MLS has to fix is you're bringing all these old players and they're coming over here because, I mean, it's time to retire. I mean, I'm not in my prime like I used to be. There's young players coming up. I mean, it's just not going to work out. I mean, eventually you're going to see a Messi down here and you're going to see Cristiano Ronaldo, but I mean, it's like a Chicago.
There were talks of the MLS expanding. I think Miami was one of the markets. And they're talking about Miami getting a Ronaldo or a Messi. By the time they're ready to expand, sign them. It's like,
rumors heard that after Cristiano Ronaldo retires from Real Madrid, he's supposed to come down and play for New York. And I mean, of course, New York's ticket sales are gonna
the Red Bulls or FC.
FC.
Oh, okay. Where Pirlo's at and all that.
Yeah, so their ticket prices are going to skyrocket. Why? Because you have Pirlo playing, you have Cristiano Ronaldo playing, and they're not even going to go because they want to support the team. They're going because you don't see Cristiano Ronaldo playing in the United States all the time.
It's a story of American sports. I mean, money, dollars drive it.
Yeah, I feel like that doesn't help your team. It actually hurts your team.
Yeah.
All that money, you could use it, to get better players, young players that are going to go out there, put in great minutes, get some goals in.
What would you rather have? A one Schweinsteiger or 3 potential Christian Pulisics? I'm going to take 3 of them.
I'll take, honestly, without a doubt, you don't, they're acting, some of the MLS teams are acting like they won championships, they won so many games where they can say, hey, I'm going to get a random player, whatever, give me a Schweinsteiger. Like, wow, we're going to win it. Like, no, you're not going to win it, Soccer's not a one-man team, like I said earlier. Schweinsteiger, he's not as good as he used to be. He's getting age, he's aging, and he's not going to be running up and down the field like as if you have a different player, a young player, a 21, 22-year-old.
Yeah.
He could run up and down the field like it's nothing, and he could do that every week.
Yeah.
Schweinsteiger cannot do that.
Although I do admit to this though, it's the right move for him because German soccer is like fast-paced all the time. So when you come over here, I'm not saying it's slow, but it's not as fast as German soccer. You have a little more time to catch your breath.
It's a brilliant move for him.
Yeah.
Both physically, he's going to lengthen his career, and he's going to make his pocketbook, his wallet a lot bigger. But yeah, his career, he'll last a lot longer. He could probably play twice as many years in the MLS than he could still remaining in the Bundesliga, or any other league. In Europe, for that matter. So I think it's a brilliant decision for him, but it's just kind of a mess.
And also, I feel like Chicago viewed it as, he won the World Cup with Germany. You've seen what he did with Germany. Let's get a German World Cup winner, bring him here so we can go around in the MLS and say, you don't have nobody. I have a World Cup winner on my team.
It's no doubt a ticket sales play and then trying to get, because they're a team that's in trouble. They needed an injection like that. No.
But how is that going to help you?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to help them, but I do think when it comes down to the business side of things, it helped them. And I think they're going to regret it later on because they're not going to be able to afford a lot of prospects. Thank God. And then another reason for you guys to go support the Houston Dynamo, we have a management and ownership team that's not doing that crap. We get international guys, but look at the young Hondurans we got. We got young international guys with some talent. Thank God we're not doing that. I mean, Cubo Torres has been like the biggest name, and even he's not, huge. Not like we've gotten some legend. DeMarcus Beasley, probably the biggest, American name we've had, going back to Brian Chang in the beginning. But we haven't done not a move like this, and I hope to God the Dynamo never do, because I think we can develop our own team a lot better here. Recognizing the fact that there are better international players, but go for them when they're younger because it'll last you longer and be better. Don't go for the guys, like I said. We're going to see this because New York FC, before they got Pirlo, and who else did they get there? Kaká was playing for them, I think.
No, Kaká was Orlando
City. But another play, same thing like that. And David Gerrard, all these guys have come over. the teams have gotten, with the exception, I would say, the Galaxy. The Galaxy have been legitimately good. They've
Yeah.
signed players. But these other teams, it's just they're dumpster fires.
Yeah.
They're bottom of the league, and they're doing it to make a play. Now, like I said, it happens in every sport. I mean, it does to an extent. I mean, think about it. How we don't have a draft system, obviously. We have a draft, but soccer teams don't build themselves off the draft like other franchises and other sports do. And we see it happen all the time. Teams make a big splash in the offseason, blah, blah, blah. But it's just not like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Kind of wrapping things up, speaking of kind of some of the plays in the Dynamo, we mentioned down in Red Bull, 2 other games that stuck out to me this week because we have it's early on 3 or 4 games, very tight in. But an early test I want to see is a Seattle team that has bounced back since losing to us in the first game and reeled off 2 wins, going against the young guns, as I'm calling them now, over in Atlanta.
Yeah.
This Atlanta team, with only 1 loss, is very impressive. They are tied with Columbus, New York FC, and the Red Bulls with 7 points. They're right in the thick.
Free-for-all.
It's a free-for-all. But it's Atlanta, and they're on top because of their goal differential. They are +8 goal differential versus the second place behind them, New York FC, is at 4+. These are nobodies. And they're doing it. I really want to see if they can pull this off against a former champion and see what happens. I know you mentioned it last episode about we looked up the roster afterwards and said,
it's like
I don't know any of these guys.
You don't know anybody there, and I feel that's what Chicago Fire should have done. Like, look at these guys. They just started. Their players are like, you've never heard of them, but then you look at them and it's like, look at them. They're on top. And Chicago Fire spent all this money on one player who, I mean, you don't even know if he's going to be able to put you on top. You don't know if he's going to get you up there. So right now I feel like this game, well, the way that Atlanta's playing right now, they're doing very good. And I feel like they're an underdog, and they're gonna surprise everybody in the playoffs.
They're doing it the right way.
Yeah, and it's interesting to they've been winning all the games, and but if you look at I guess you look at Atlanta, they've been winning the games, but if you go back to look at the other team, what is it, Minnesota,
the other expansion. They're a mess.
Yeah, they're like
they're the next guy to sign a European
Yeah.
player. They're gonna we're gonna hear about Messi playing in Minnesota in the snow or something.
But how? They don't have the money.
They're gonna take out a loan.
I think that's the thing with also with the MLS. You literally could go and have such a horrible season, and you don't get relegated.
Yeah, and there's no
Liga,
punishment for sucking.
Liga MX, you get relegated.
Yeah.
The La Liga, you get relegated, and
every league.
Yeah, every league, and I feel that people don't understand that. They need to input relegation so that teams will actually start winning games. Play every game like it's your last game.
Which leads us to our last topic for today, and that was looking at just soccer in the U.S., some of the changes. The USL just kicked off, and that's 30. I didn't realize they're up to 30 teams in that league now.
Yeah.
Every one of the MLS teams have it. We have Rio Grande Valley is our developmental, our partner in the USL, our second division type thing. And people don't realize this in other leagues that, like you said, there's a punishment if you do bad. And people don't get this in American sports. If you do bad, you get a draft pick.
Yeah.
No, you do bad in Liga MX Premier League, your butt goes down and plays with the losers. And if you lose there, you lose with the loser of the losers. You get to play. When you are qualified to play, you win. It's based on merit. This crap of, I think we give it gets me a whole other tangent on sports in this country. The whole participation trophy stuff. Now look, you didn't earn it. So I'm not going to give you an award for it. I'm not going to award you some European star in his twilight of his career to boost your ticket sales because, I'm sorry, Minnesota United, you are -12 goal differential and have 1 point for the season. We shouldn't award that. That's how you make it better. It's like if I were to, in my teaching career, to give some sort of plaque or awards at the end of the year to the people who got C's. You passed, so here's an award. No, I'm not going to recognize that. I'm going to recognize the people who worked their butt off and got A's all season. That's what we're doing in American soccer. We're awarding mediocrity by allowing them to do this crap. No, we need to regulate them. There are some good USL teams who want to go up and down. And I don't think we've quite figured out because of the logistics and the business and the different stadiums. It gets complicated, I get that. But we need to figure it out because playing it in this U.S. style is, I think, hurting us when it comes to this. I think we can be unique in how we play our games and ref our games, but I think that we need to get with the rest of the world when it comes to regulation. You are awarded for doing good. I say the champion of the USL should automatically get into the MLS. And the last place team, if it ends up being Minnesota United, if it was today, should go play a year down in the USL.
Yeah. That's how more people would take the MLS much more serious. You know?
Teams take it serious, fans take it serious.
Yeah. People will be there supporting, and you have players that are going to want to work harder. So,
and it'll be a wake-up call like, hey, we need to build our team in order to get back up there. Because, I mean, if you get kicked down and you have another team come up and take your position, it's like, it's a wake-up call like, hey, I mean, being down here isn't good enough for us. We want to be up there. And especially for your fan base, I mean, you'll know if your fan base is there for you or not if they follow you all the way down and they follow you all the way back up. I mean, I've seen it happen in Mexican league teams. So I feel like it'll be if MLS were able to do that to the teams now and so they have a second division and a first division, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
And I mean, Minnesota has a long way to go.
It awards the teams that put in the hard work. I mean, I saw Alex left us a comment there, so that's why the Dynamo haven't chased to be the star player. They built a team rather than buying one. That's what we should award. The people who put in the work and create true franchises and not overnight teams. Regulation, in my opinion, is one of the greatest things in sports. But we as Americans don't have it. I mean, think about it. Just give people a comparison. Why the hell do we let the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA get the first round draft pick every single damn year because they suck and they keep getting draft picks and they go well? That's stupid to me.
It's like you're letting them build their team because they suck. That's not how it should work. Give the top. I say the one who ended up winning it all get the first pick.
Well, you know what it forces you to do? It forces you to look inside at your academy system, at your D-League system, your developmental system, your coaching staff. It makes you spend money on what's important, and that is development. If you want, and because there's this fear, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy that loses. I mean, like I said, why the heck are the Cleveland Browns getting the first pick in the NFL draft? Because they suck every year, and we shouldn't be awarding that. So soccer is the same way. The rest of the world's figured it out. We haven't figured it out for some reason. And I do think that the last thing I want to mention is that if you're going to continue to expand, another 6 more teams, and they want the big TV deal, they want to be like the NFL and Major League Baseball and whatnot, you got to bring the competition. These are not going to pay big dollars for crap. You know, you got to do a quality product out there. The NFL, they've had trouble this past year, gets those TV deals because they bring in the viewers. Many people, and like I said, they're in trouble. That's a league that's in trouble because of their rule changes and whatnot, and people don't like how it's changing the game. I think it's the reverse of the MLS. I think they can make some rule changes that will improve the game and actually get more ratings. I mean, they're trying this year. One of the things they announced at South by Southwest, MLS officials said they were putting 28 games will be streamed on Facebook for free, Facebook Live, to try and get more viewership up. When it comes down to an American viewership, is always the dilemma of how do you make money off of soccer? It's no timeouts and stuff like that. But I do think, because they have some other contracts right now. I mean, look at these international friendlies. If you're a USA fan and you didn't own beIN Sports, which is not owned, I looked at the number comparison, you couldn't watch the second friendly. This is an international game.
You had to go to
FS1, because their contracts are so screwy. FS1 had the first game. beIN Sports had the second. Guess what the difference is? There's a 60 million person difference in viewership. 60 million more people have FS1 on their cable television than have beIN Sports. Our international team is playing, and only 20 million Americans can watch them. I mean, what the hell is that? So I think we need to do a lot with the TV deals and figure out that it is a profitable. You make money off of viewership.
Yeah, it really is.
And because you don't get you have to maximize your ads, right? you got to build that fan base. I think that's the other reason why fan bases on these other teams are so fanatical, is because that's what drives their teams. The fact that they know they can fill their stadium every single game, that they got that sort of, they're going to maximize. They can charge a lot more for those halftime ads or those ads on the side of or the sponsorship on the jerseys, which, by the way, the NBA is looking into. They're following a soccer league. They want Home Depot on the side of their jersey or something.
I wouldn't like that. I feel like basketball jerseys are pretty unique, just like football jerseys.
True.
And I don't want to buy a shirt that has look like I don't want my shirt to look like something you could put by yourself. So many ads on shirts. I mean, sometimes it looks pretty cool. Sometimes there's such thing as too many ads on the shirt. I mean. Like big teams, like Madrid and Barcelona, they only have maybe one ad or two ads on their shirts, but I mean, they have so much supporting on it.
Yeah, they also have some big financial backing.
Yeah, So I mean, it's a big difference, but it'd be cool, but I mean, hey, but sometimes I feel like some teams would just take it overboard.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the one American sport that seems to have figured it out to do is NASCAR.
Yeah.
If the rednecks in NASCAR can do it like we do in soccer, you think the other sports could do it. I do think it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
But I do think if viewership continues, I project within the next 5 to 6 years. First of all, 2018 is not this next year, but the year after next. I think 2018 to 2019 is when they're eligible they're out of their contract with Fox. They'll have to renew it, the FS1 and all that, Fox Sports and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the big networks. ESPN has made a play a couple times, but we'll see. Because that's how you do it. You got to get exposure, right? You got to get exposure to everyone. For crying out loud, it's easier for me to watch a Liga MX game, a Mexican League game here in the United States than it is for me to watch all the MLS games. It shouldn't be like that.
That is true.
It's easier for me to go on to regular, not even have cable, just turn on Univision and watch whatever Mexican League game is on, and I can't even watch the USA play, in an international World Cup qualifier. So we got to fix that, and that has to be done.
But if you think about it, Mexico, when it came to their league, they played their cards right. You see the TV, the channels that they signed on to. Univision, I mean, you don't even need cable to watch that. So I mean, they got that right. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 games that you're not able to watch just because, I mean,
you have to have cable.
You have to have cable
or sports package.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, they played their cards right, and they're like, all right, we're gonna sign a deal with them. They're always gonna play the games, even if you have cable or not. You're gonna be able to watch them. So I mean, they played their cards right, and I feel like MLS needs to do that. Sign with a channel that, like, hey, like, look, you don't need cable to watch it, and I mean, I'm not gonna charge you to go ahead and watch it. I mean, if you have like a simple like cable box or something, you're able to watch the games, and that's going to get your views up. That's the only way it's going to work.
You got to get viewership if it's going to grow in this country. Well, I'm going to end things today with a little round of predictions, kind of a tradition I want to start. I'm going to leave you with 2. You guys can leave just one or really want to think about what games you'll be able to pay attention to. I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for 2 different people today. I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for the Houston Dynamo. And I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for my friends in Monterrey and the Rayados. And Club America is going to go down crying. So you heard it here. You're going to be crying by 11:30 tonight. You America fans will be crying and saying it's over. You'll give up. About half your fans will give up and say, oh, you're going to be burning your jerseys like they burned LeBron jerseys in Cleveland when he left. And you're going to be done. You're going to be done. Your playoffs will say bye-bye. I'll welcome my friends, the Tigres. Although they're my rival, I will welcome them into the playoffs, and you will be forever forgotten because we all hate you. So, as I sign off, goodbye, Club America. Y'all's predictions, whatever you want to leave them with. Final thoughts.
I'll go with the 3-2 Dynamo win today. I wanted to be a good offensive game. Also defensively. I just feel that Dynamo's got it. I hope they win it, and that's my only prediction. I mean, I really don't watch Liga MX. It's not that I'm biased, but my team Cruz is such a mediocre team. I don't even want to watch it. So
you calling Barcelona to blow out Juventus or no?
Ooh, actually, one of the games that I'm gonna be really excited about watching is Leicester City and Atletico.
That's right.
such a neck to neck game. Both great teams. But you know, I mean, I'm gonna go with the underdog. You know, I mean, I enjoy Atletico. You know, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a really good game. I hope, and I hope it's gonna be a really good game, and you know, and I want Bayern Munich to beat Madrid.
Yeah. So we got 3-1 Dynamo, 3-2 Dynamo. I went with my Rayados. He went with like the underdog in Leicester City. What do you got on Dynamo? And then of course, I know you're gonna go with your Tigres probably.
Dynamo wise, I feel like they're gonna take the win, but I'm gonna go with 2-0.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a 2-0 with a shutout, so it should be a very good game. If you're going out there, it'll be a very good game to enjoy. For my team, Tigres, I feel like they'll get a good 3-0 today, especially going against León. I mean, they're at the bottom, so it should be not an easy game, but they should take advantage of it. And for them to go against Vancouver, I think they're going to win that one. They're going to add on 2 more goals and pass on to the final.
You heard that here first. Bold predictions. We don't back down around here. So, we'd like to thank all y'all that tuned in. I'd like to thank all y'all that are going to be watching this later. Continue to share this video, share the page, like the page, comment on the stories we put. Tell us about the stuff you want to hear about. We are open to ears. We enjoy doing this because it's the sport we love. We like talking about it all the time. So we like just talking about it with you. So continue to comment. Like I said, follow our page. We'll be posting this video, like I said, on the page after we're done here. We're looking to come back to you the end of April after all our Champions League action. So we're going to have a jam-packed show for you at the end of April, after Easter, the weekend after Easter, around the 21st, 22nd, somewhere around there. Champions League, we'll be in the books. We'll be in the Final Four at that point. All the leagues will be almost ready for playoffs. We'll finally see who's emerging as a leader in the MLS. We'll be approaching another round of friendlies there. So it's going to be a ton to talk about. Continue to tell us what you want to hear, what you think, what you like, what you don't like, etc. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, Texas Soccer Live, out.